guys, and welcome to episode 94 of LTFM. So, I I was thinking about it, right? Because like the other day, I recorded an episode with Judy Hill, and I was like, we had it was like a big like drug kind of episode, like talking about like different things that we've done, and you know, just like the shit that we used to do and like what we do now, kind of things, just to talk about it. And then after the episode, I was sitting there and I was thinking, I was like, damn. I was like, damn, I think people are going to listen to that and just be like, what a cokehead, right? And I was like, I need to I need to make a different episode and explain that. Just cuz I was like I was like, yeah, I wanted to talk about it, but then also I was like, damn, I seemed like I was having too much fun. I mean, it was fun to talk about because, like, just like the things that you've done before. But I was like, let me explain this. So today we're gonna be hanging out, and we're gonna be going over all of that with you. So, good morning, right? It's good morning. It is a Saturday. I have a long weekend, and what is better than that? Okay, tell me. So anyway, um, I guess I'll just get into like the whole how did I end up doing so much coke at one point in my life? Um, so I was I was married to someone a long time ago, and after actually no, so it was like I mean it's very very first time, right? So like I had been dating somebody from like high school, and we broke up, and then like in the middle of like the whole breaking up thing, he ended up getting like a job with like um some dude or whatever, and they would go to like different buildings and do like construction on them. So like building buildings. I don't know. So it was like that, and when he was hanging out with those people, he ended up telling me that like, he stays up all night and like he's able to work and not be tired and this and that. And I was like, what do you mean? Like what is that? And and then he was like, well, it's this. But like it took him a minute. I was like, why can't you just tell me what it is? And it was like it was Coke. And whatever, one thing led to another, and one day we were hanging out with him and his friends or something, like a couple of the guys that like he lived around, and they had started doing it, and then they offered some to him, and then he's like, do you want to do some? And then I did like the smallest like little like key bump of it, and I was like, okay. And then whatever, like I mean, thinking back on it, it was just kind of like I did it, but it was kind of like ass. So like the quality of it, so it wasn't really like too crazy at that moment, but I was just like whatever. And then we went and smoked after that. And then I ended up getting a divorce, and I started hanging out with this one dude, right? I just met him like on some random like dating website or something, but I was like, I just want to kind of hang out with someone, like I don't know, I just wanted some attention. And so we hung out, and I don't even know how the fuck. Oh, we were just hanging out one night listening to music, right? And this dude just like pulls out he pulls out a fucking big ass piece of like a mirror from something, and then he like starts digging in his closet, gets like this box out and like pulls out like this bag of coke, and then he like puts it on there, breaks it up, and he's like, do you want some? I was like, sure, I'll try it, right? Because I had already tried that before, but he was doing like lines. And so I did one, and I was like, okay. It was like a bit of a burn. And then I ended up doing another one, whatever, however many minutes after, because like we did one that we smoked, like a cigarette. And then, like, before I know it, it's been like 2, 3 hours already, right? And we're just like sitting there talking. And I did like, I think two or three like little lines, like they were nothing crazy, but it was like so weird how it made time go by. And then after that, like we started hanging out more. I think like it was almost every weekend, and we would just do like a little bit of coke and like hang out for a couple hours, and then I'd go home, and then I ended up starting to buy off of him, and it was it was cool, and then he started being like a piece of shit, right? And he was like, I would buy stuff from him, like I'd get like a big amount, so I'd get probably like, ooh, sorry, I almost dropped my dice. I'd get like 2 or 3 grams, and then he'd be like, "Hey, can I get some? Do you want to do some with me?" And I was like, "Fucking kinda, not really, fuck." And then he was like, he started getting crazy, right? She started getting crazy, and then he would like one time I was like, "Nah, I'm not doing any, and I don't feel like doing that. Like I'm not at home." And this dude drove to my house and sat outside my house, and I was like, "Bro, I told you like not to come over here." And I was like, "Look, I'm gonna give you some now, and then like that's it, because I'm done. I don't want to do this." And like, so I gave him like a little bit of coke, and then he called back like 20, 30 minutes later and was like, can I have some more? And he was outside my fucking house again, and I was like, bro. So I gave this dude more coke, right? Like not like a lot, like a couple hits or something. And then I was like, bro, fuck that. So then after that, I just like blocked that dude, blocked him, and I was like, I can't fucking do that shit anymore. Like, what a psycho. Like, who the fuck drives to someone's house and does some shit like that? So I was like, okay. And then, so like, this is still pretty close to like the divorce happening. I was a wreck. Um, cause like all it was doing was like just hanging out with people. I was drinking, and then ended up meeting someone else. I was hanging out with that dude, and then eventually, uh, like we had hung out. Eventually, in the future, that guy becomes my boyfriend, and in the beginning, we like hung out a couple times, and randomly, I don't know if I think I had brought up the fact that I did coke, right? Like I brought it up because I was like trying to make like an an entering conversation into like, do you do coke? Can I get coke off of you? Because like the guy that I was getting coke off of was a fucking psycho, right? So it turns out he does do coke, right? And then his friend does coke sometimes. And so we started hanging out doing that. We ended up dating, and this and that happens, and I move in eventually, right? But when I move in, because like we're just doing it, we're doing coke, and it started off as like maybe like 1 gram, 1 gram here and there, and it was like every maybe once a month, and then it was like, oh, now it's 2 times a month. Now it's like, oh, instead of getting it from like the same guy that we were getting it from, now we know someone else that sells it, and we know someone else that sells it, so like now we have more access to getting it. And over like the what was it, like 3 years that me and my ex had dated, it was like we we were functioning, but also we weren't, like we were alive like barely, but it was kind of like a thing of we we got with each other, but all we ended up doing was just like a bunch of coke all the time, and then it just kept going up and up. And then he ended up getting a friend at his job, right, that sold it, and I don't know. He was real like secretive about shit, but like he would always have it. He would do it at work. He would do it on the weekends with me. He would do it throughout the week. And I was like, oh, that explains why he's not eating when he gets home, and he's not doing this. Like you could just tell, like the biggest thing was basically we got together and we like became addicted. That's just that's just the fucking um that's just what happened, okay? And it was crazy to think that like I was addicted because like when I stopped, like I just was like, yeah, I just don't want to do it, right? I'm annoyed with it. It was just kind of like I got annoyed with the fact that like I'm fucking tired, but like you do coke and like you're not tired. And but like you don't realize like how much like it's fucking draining you. And like I think about it now and I was like, oh, I got like super skinny after I got divorced, right? And I was just like, oh, I looked so good, this and that. But then like I look back at the pictures and it's like, yeah, I was skinny and like, oh, that's so awesome. But like now I've been getting healthier, like, I'm feeling better. Noticing like very small little changes in myself, but I don't understand how I was functioning because I think about it now and there was times where I'd stay up for days at a time. I was hallucinating at times. I was getting into so many arguments. Like we were getting into arguments. Not always me. Um and it was just nuts. Like yeah, I was doing coke a lot. Like yeah, look honestly, like let me tell you. So it was a toxic time in my life, right? And I wish I didn't have the what is that? I wish I didn't have the ability to get it so much because when I was doing it and I was doing it like every once in a while, like on the weekends, like it was not bad, right? Like it was not too bad. Like yeah, I was like wasting my whole weekend, but I was like just chilling out. But if I wouldn't have been able to get it almost every single day of every week, like for years kind of thing, it would be like that would be nice, like that was just toxic. It was so bad. And I can't believe like I was functioning the way that I was. Like I was on it at times like you would never believe. Like it was crazy, but I was just there. I was doing it. Like it it was cool while it lasted, and I'm glad that nothing happened like crazy because I'm look, pretty sure I almost died a couple of times. Like but whatever, right? I was in it, no one was stopping me. But like it's cool while it lasted. And yeah, it's an awesome feeling. I did like it a lot, but like I'm I can't do that now. Like I can't do that. I won't do that just because I feel like that would be so awful. Like it, this would be my luck. I stopped, right? Start getting everything with my life going. Everything's going awesome. And then I do coke and then I die. How devastating would that be? But like that would be like something that life would give you? um yeah, so I mean like it was a cool feeling. I enjoyed it when I was doing it. I'm happy that I didn't get hurt. Like, I didn't like die. Even though at times like it was a toxic time in my life where I was like, yeah, I kind of wish I could die. Maybe that's why I was pushing myself so much, but I'm just glad that I'm here now. And I just really wanted to explain that because I was like, that shit was nuts. And then, like, once I got done being with that guy, I did it for like a very little bit. Like, I think it was like a day or two after we had split. I don't remember. Like, not split, like, ever since I had, I don't know. Like, I had stopped before that and I wasn't doing it on the weekends and stuff, but it was like at the end I had like a little bit and I did that, but it was just like I'm so glad that I stopped. Like it's so good not having to worry like that cuz like I was spending money like I was just doing the absolute most. Had a second job. I was using some of that money to pay for some shit and it was like you don't have any kind of life. The things I'm doing right now on the weekends, you'd never have. I've been gardening. Could you imagine going outside fucking gardening on cocaine? I'm dying. I can't even. Like, The only thing I could do on Coke was literally drink beer and smoke cigarettes. You're already doing Coke and then you're drinking and you're smoking. I can't believe I was just like out there. I was like out there like, well, everything horrible. Let me put it in. But anyway, yeah. So that was the whole thing with that. But don't do Coke. If you're gonna do it, go back, go back in time and do it. Because I feel like Coke now is like hella extra shit inside of it that you don't know about. But anyway, so that's that. Um, I just wanted to explain. I'm just gonna keep rambling, but I just wanted to come on here and say that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, and enjoy episode 96 because I'm having a lot of fun in it. But just know, don't do coke. Don't do it. Hi. So, I am editing right now, and I realized that I was like listening to it, and I was like, "What the fuck is that bitch even talking about?" You guys sat through that whole thing. um, yeah. Look, there was timelines I left out, and it was like weird. Hold on, but let me tell you a weird thing, right? Okay, so like I had hopped around because I was like, oh, I did it with this one person that I was with like in high school, and then like I forgot to say that like after I stopped talking to him, there was a little bit of time in between there. I didn't do it for I don't know, a couple years, right? And then I got with that person that I was like married to, and then after we split up, then I started doing it again. But anyway, let me tell you about this crazy story that I had. This is also another Coke one, right? So like I forgot to tell you. One time I was at a party. What? Why am I whispering? One time I was at a party and I'm there. It was like with like the ex that I uh did a bunch of coke with, right? Whatever. So, it was with him, and I was. It was like a little family like cookout for one of his friends, and one of his friends' moms was there, and she was. I had like we were all inside. We ate food, right? I don't remember what it was for. I think it was like a Thanksgiving thing or Easter or some shit. And so we're all inside and we just eat and then we were about to go outside to have like a cigarette. And then he goes out in front of me and then I'm next, right? And I start walking out the door, at the screen door. You got to take two big like cement steps down. And all I hear is like, "Psst, hey, hey." And it was like really raspy, like, hey, because like this lady smoked a lot. So her voice was like fucked. And I was like, what the fuck is that? I turn around and she's just like, hey. She's like in the crack of the door. She's like, hey, come in here. But she was like hunched down because like, I don't know, trying to be secretive. Um, we just got some watermelons, hella juicy. So I was like, what the fuck does she want? I turn around and this bitch is like, um, hey, do you wanna and she kept like pointing to her nose she kept pointing to her nose and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. Like I was like, yes, I don't know what to do. And she takes me in the bathroom and there's kids here and shit, right? She takes me in the bathroom. Not in the bathroom, but she takes me in there and then she pulls out like this big bag. Like she's got a bag like this, but like, you know, it's just like a little bit in the bottom, but like it's like rocks. It's not like completely broken up yet. And we're in there and she just like dumps it on the sink, but she's like all sloppy with it, dumps it in the sink, and then she's like, fuck, I don't have anything to cut it with, like anything that so she grabs a thing of toothpaste, right? And then like the bottom part of the toothpaste, like the flat end, she like takes that and starts making like lines with it. And then she pulls out like this fat ass fucking dollar bill. She rolls it up again and then she like does like two big ass lines. Let me tell you, she had it all over here. like it was on her upper lip, it was all over her nose, like it was like you could tell that she just did coke, right? Because that dollar was dirty from like when she used to do coke before. So, so yeah, I was playing with some papers and I breathed out, and they were like, um. So I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Okay, because I'm gonna do this coke too, right?" I don't know, it's just happening. I've met her before, but like, it's our first time doing coke together. I was crazy because I was like, "Why am I in here?" But addiction, okay? So we're doing crazy things. So, um, I did that, and then she's like, "Oh, okay, thanks for doing that." And she's like, I didn't want to invite so and so in here with me because like he's a guy, and like she was talking about my ex, and she's like, because he's a guy, and like I don't want it to seem weird and this and that, and I was just like, okay. But it was so fucking weird, like, ah, man. I feel like it's crazy. um yeah, let me see if do I have any let me do I have any other stories that I want to tell you. um okay. One time we were doing coke with this guy, right? He was my ex's friend, and he didn't do too much, but like we would get it from him sometimes, right? And one time he came home, and he actually said that he wanted to do it with us, right? So then we we all did some, and then after that, like he just started like spilling his guts. Not this dude, just randomly coming out and saying like, "Yeah, I've jacked off at every place that I've worked in the bathroom at some point." And it was like, what? Why did you just tell us that? Like, and and when that happened, that was like, because I'm high, right? I was like, did like looking at porn, or like you have a picture or something? Because like, how'd you do that? He also admitted that he did that at school too, and it was like, what the fuck? And he's like, no, no pictures, no phone, just on my mind. And I was like, okay. But like I didn't even know what to say. I was like, I gotta go get a beer. Like I had to leave the room because I was just like, how do you, how do you just come out and say that? But I guess people when they're like on shit will just be talking and talking some shit. But I was like, I would never think to do that first, and I would also never do that. Like, I don't know, I'm not ever thinking about jacking off at my job or school or something, you know? It's just like, that was so funny that he said that. Because what the fuck are you even talking about? Um, I don't think I have any other ones. I'm trying to flash through them, see if I have any that I want to share with you. Yeah, but I was just editing and I was thinking about that. I was like, I didn't even explain. I was high then, but I'm also high now, and I was like, I didn't even think to like actually explain anything. And like, I'm editing. I was like, I need to come in here. I don't know. Don't do drugs. Don't do coke. Don't do it. I mean, if you're gonna be high, right? Just do weed. Do weed for now. That's what I'm doing right now. Actually, right before I got in here. But let's see. Hmm. Oh my god. That one time I got hella high. I was like, it was like my second day up on doing a bunch of shit. And I was like, let's have a seance, right? I had the Ouija board out, lit a bunch of candles. I sat there on that fucking Ouija board for like 20 something minutes at a time. And like I was getting nothing. I was like, damn, I think Coke blocks the paranormal out, right? It blocks the spirits. So the video that I'm making now just like randomly stops from being about drugs into like, all right, guys, now I'm gonna teach you how to hunt ghosts in your house. I'm a ghost hunter now, mid clip. All right, well, I don't know. I can't think of any more, but if I do, I'll put them in. But yeah, okay. Goodbye.